Goes back, the gentlelady from Minnesota is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I guess I think we've somehow strayed from from what's really going on in these bills. And so Chairman McClintock, I just was wondering if you could maybe just answer a series of questions. Is it lawful for a U.S. citizen to evade the pursuit of law enforcement?
No.
Is there penalty for a U.S. citizen who
Yes.
evades? Is it lawful for a U.S. citizen to drive under the influence of alcohol?
No,
And are there penalties?
of course.
What about identity fraud
Same,
and penalties?
same.
And I think that makes my point that I am just, I fail to see what my colleagues who are raising concerns with these bills, at a minimum, it's equally applying the laws to aliens.
With this difference, and I think the ranking member would hasten to point this out. Under these bills, with respect to illegal immigrants, the deportation, the inadmissibility can be triggered simply by their admitting to the crime. Now, this is not unprecedented, not by a long shot. There are a large series of offenses where this is already applicable to illegal immigrants. For example, an alien can be removed for overstaying his visa, violating his non-immigrant status or condition of entry, smuggling aliens, committing marriage fraud, being a drug user or a drug addict, falsely claiming U.S. citizenship, or engaging in espionage. None of those requires a conviction if there is an admission. And the admission terms are very strict. For 80 years, the Board of Immigration Appeals has provided protections for aliens whose removability and admissibility is based on such an admission. Under the precedent, to be considered an admission, the alien's admission must be explicit, unequivocal, and unqualified. The Department of Homeland Security then bears the burden to show by clear and convincing evidence that the statement meets that requirement for removability purposes. And even then, the immigration judge would have to find that this admission fits within the relevant statutes and the admission is based on reasonable, substantial, and probative evidence. So it's a very high standard, but it's one that is currently lacking in the law and would expedite the removal of those who meet that criteria without going through many, many years of legal process. The irony is this. The Democrats want us to take the word of illegal aliens when they approach a Border Patrol officer as to their name, their identity, their country of origin. We're supposed to take the word for all of that. But the Democrats won't take their word when they admit that they've committed these crimes in the United States. Go figure.
I appreciate that clarification, and these just make sense to me. I mean, these are bills that are common sense bills, and so I appreciate that. Yeah, and I appreciate that you brought them forward because I'm sure I'm assuming that the American public already thinks this is happening, and the fact that it's not is a problem. And so I appreciate that you brought these forward. Did you have something else to add?
I was just to say they're common sense unless you are deliberately attempting to admit millions of illegal immigrants into the country, and that appears to be the policy. And I do agree with Mr. McGovern. We are at a loggerheads as a government. Ultimately, this is not going to be fixed with laws that won't be signed and won't be enforced if they are signed. It's going to be fixed by the American people deciding whether they want to continue down this path. This ultimately is in their hands.
I appreciate that. Thank you, and I yield back, Mr. Chair.
Chair, thanks, gentlelady. Gentlelady yields back.